Hello, Predator fans, and welcome to this week's episode of the Mixtape Podcast. This is what you've been waiting for, isn't it, Predator fans? Because I know a lot of people that are so excited that we're doing this movie. It is the original movie. It is not Predator 2. It is not Predators. It is not any of the other. Look, I'm not going to say crap because they stand alone. But the original 1987 Predator, Arnold Schwarzenegger in the jungle with a bunch of his commando buddies, is the best. And I used to watch this as a kid. Yes, as a kid, when I was about 7 or 8 years old, on repeat. Maybe that's why I like horror. Maybe that's why I'm a little bit messed up in the head. I don't know why, but I've seen this movie so many times. I love it. It was directed by John McTiernan. It was written by Jim and John Thomas. So the premise of Predator, if you don't know, is this. A team of commandos on a mission in a Central American jungle find themselves hunted by an extraterrestrial warrior. Okay, before we get into it, I would like to address the composer. I don't know if I brought this up before, but the composer is Alan Silvestri, and he is my favorite movie composer. Everybody likes John Williams. Oh, John Williams is so great. Nobody knows who the fuck Alan Silvestri is. So I've just written down just a few. This is not even everything. And these are a few things which I know you know that he's done. Scores to movies. So he did Back to the Future. He did another one of my favorite movies, Flight of the Navigator. He did The Abyss. He did Fern Gully. He did Contact, Castaway, Long Kiss Goodnight, Tomb Raider, Cradle of Life, Van Helsing, Captain America, and The Avengers. And that is only a small amount of his repertoire. And obviously he did Predator. And the Predator theme to me is so iconic. Even if I hear two bars of the theme, I'm just like, Predator, it's Predator. So tell me about Alan Silvestri. Tell me about your love for him, because I know that you like him. Tell me.
Yeah, I am a really, really big Alan Silvestri fan. I really like his work on Back to the Future and Castaway specifically because he has this whimsical way about doing his scores, similar to the way that I know you just mentioned him, but similar to the way that John Williams does his scores. But
Mm.
personally, I think Alan Silvestri is better than John Williams. Watch the pitchforks come for us now.
Oh no, he's better. He is.
Um,
He's better.
yeah, but there's just something about the way that he composes music. So actually, but my favorite three composers of all time are Michael Giacchino, Danny Elfman, and Alan Silvestri. So those are my guys. Oh, and then in fourth place, just real quickly, I really like Bear McCreary.
Oh, he's
He did
good.
the music for
Yeah.
yeah, he did the music for Battlestar
A
Galactica,
lot of
the
stuff.
reboot, and Outlander as well. One of my favorite shows.
Every time I see his name pop up, I know it's gonna be like it's gonna be good music. Always.
Yeah, man, he's awesome. Bear is awesome.
All right, let's get into Predator. So you know what's funny? When I was watching this in preparation, I've seen this movie 1,000 times, and for some reason, I never remember the opening scene, because when I started watching it,
Really?
I'm like, is this the opening scene to Predator? I've seen it like a million times. So the opening scene is
You want to know
where,
something funny?
yeah, tell me.
Sorry.
Yeah, yeah,
You want to know something?
yes.
You've seen this movie a million times. You grew up with it. I've only seen this movie twice.
Wow. Okay. No, I don't know why.
But
Listen, as a 7-year-old, I was obsessed with this movie. I don't know what I didn't really understand it because I was 7. I just love the fact that the Predator went around killing these commandos. I thought that that was the coolest thing. And do you know what? I asked my mom the other day. I said, "Why did you let me watch Predator so many times?" And she said, "But you wanted to." And I'm like, "But I'm 7. Am I mature enough to make decisions like that? Like because you wanted to?" A grade parenting right there, but it didn't mess me up. I never had nightmares from it, weirdly enough. She just said she just wanted to watch it. She goes, "I don't know why."
mm,
I don't know. There must have been something in it that would pulled me to it. I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, I mean, look, I mean, just before Dean starts her usual spiel,
Mm,
Predator is just all sorts of fucking awesome. I
mm,
mean, the dialogue, the the characterization for most of the commandos,
Yeah.
some of the lines by Jesse the Body Ventura are should be illegal, but they're great.
Mm.
Yeah, so it's just great.
So the opening scene, which I don't know why I always forget that this is the opening scene. We're in outer space, and we see a spaceship, and it's flying basically across the brim of Earth, and then we see like a shuttle or an escape pod, whatever it is, launch from the ship and head towards Earth. And then we get to scene one, and it's a military helicopter, and it lands, and inside five men step out, and these are our main guys. This is Mac, Poncho, Blaine, Billy, Hawkins, and of course, Dutch is the last one to get out. He sits there, he lights a cigar, so you know he's fucking like cool as shit. He walks towards the, I don't know, tent or building or whatever it is, and he gets told his mission is to rescue a foreign cabinet minister and his aide from insurgents. And then we meet Dylan, and then we get that classic Dylan, and then they do the handshake thing, and it just shows how big their muscles are, which is so campy, but it's such an iconic scene of just two muscly men showing off their muscles. Basically, we meet Dylan, and he's a longtime buddy of Dutch. And basically, Dylan keeps telling Dutch because Dutch is like, "Why am I here?" And he says, "You're the best. We needed the best." So it's exposition, but it's exposition we needed, right? Because he's saying you're the best, you're the best. So like it's like, oh, so Arnold or Dutch doesn't need to prove he's the best. We already know just by that one line of dialogue, which I didn't think was too over the top. I thought, all right, cool, he's the best. So he basically Dutch heads a military rescue team, and they just go in and rescue whoever needs to be rescued. If the military kind of can't get really, I mean, he is part of the military, but if they can't do it their way, they get Dutch and his boys, and they kind of go in and they kind of do whatever it takes to kind of rescue whoever it is that they need to rescue. Anyway, thoughts?
Yeah, I really loved the opening to this movie and the subsequent introduction to Dutch and his fellow comrades, because the opening to this movie is very weird because it starts off in space and you're like, why is this movie starting off in space? And like Gene said, a pod gets released from a bigger ship, and then it cuts to so right off the bat, if you've never seen this movie before, you're wondering what the hell is that? And then and then you get introduced to Dutch and his crew. But the great thing about the scene is the music by Alan Silvestri is just it's just propulsive, and it's got this grandeur to it, and it's just wonderful. And I love the fact that every member of Dutch's team exits the helicopter before he does. And I love that John McTiernan focuses in on the inside of the helicopter, and you see Arnold Schwarzenegger as Dutch lighting the cigarette, and then he comes down, he goes in, he gets his message. I love the introduction of Carl Weathers in this movie as Dylan, and and their manly handshake. I thought that was great. Ultimately, as the film goes along, I kind of don't like Dylan because I think he's a little bastard.
Oh yeah.
But such yeah, but such a great opening. But also, I have to agree with you just a little bit. The line where Dylan says, where Dutch says to Dylan, "Why am I here?" And Dutch just and Dylan goes, "Because you're the best." I thought that was a little bit. I thought that was a little bit telegraphed. I thought that the writers could have found another way to do that, because they kind of because through the situation that Dutch and his team are going to go through, you kind of understand that the reason he's there is because they're the is is because his team is the best. So I was like, I would have preferred it if the writers would have found a different way to do that.
Hmm.
And the last thing I want to say
Mm.
is I thought the setup to this movie was very economical, because as a screenplay writer, there's a little creedy. It goes, you have the first 10 pages to set up everything that you want to tell
Yeah.
in your script.
Yeah.
And if you don't set it up within the first 10 pages,
Yeah.
you're fucked. I thought that the writers wasted no time with this. They set it up right away, and they just said go, and
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, because by minute 7 of the movie, they're in the jungle already. So they did
Yeah,
it. So well within 10
it's great.
pages, they set up the characters, they set up the
It's
mission,
great.
they set up the, the space thing with the escape pod, which you don't know what it is yet. Like they set up everything. So the next scene is they are the boys are in the helicopter and they're headed to the jungle. And one of the best songs, "Long Tall Sally" by Little Richard, which I used to have as my ringtone because I loved it so much, is playing in the background. And there's just banter with the boy. Look, this is a boy movie. It is a very, very masculine boy movie, which is why I don't know why it appealed to me so much. I don't know many females that love this movie, but I know a lot of guys that love it because it's just you've got all these commandos who and they're as big as a house. There's not one of them that's like scrawny. Do you know what I mean? They're all even
No,
Hawkins is like a big guy, which you don't really see, but they're all big buff dudes in the jungle with like semi-automatics and like mini machine guns and shit. It's very, very masculine. And there is a joke. There's two jokes, which I am going to tell. So if you do not like the P word, then fucking
do it,
switch off now because I don't even give a shit about
do it,
triggering any fucking snowflakes. Hawkins.
do it.
Hawkins is looking at Billy. Billy is he's like I think is he Native American? Billy?
Is he's
Is he?
Indian?
He might be
He's
Native American.
Indian.
Anyway,
I think he's
so
Indian.
he's the quiet. Billy's one of my favorite characters because he's kind of quiet, but he kind of susses out. He knows what's going on. So
He
Hawkins,
he's
yeah,
a tracker.
yeah, he's the tracker. So Hawkins is he's the geeky guy. He's got these big oversized glasses on, and he looks at and he just wants
By
to
the way,
make Billy. Yeah,
Hawkins is actually writer director Shane Black actually.
I knew you were going to bring that up, which is why I didn't have it in my trivia because I thought throughout this hour he's going to fucking bring up that Hawkins is Shane Black. Who is Shane Black? Shane Black wrote Lethal Weapon. Like he's a great screenwriter,
Kiss
and
Kiss Bang Bang.
yeah, yeah. And actually, while they were filming Predator, he was writing The Last Boy Scout. So there you go. He
Really?
was.
Wow, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, awesome.
So
Uh
Hawkins tells Billy a joke. This is the joke. I told my girlfriend I could use a little pussy. She said, "Me too. Mine's as big as a house." And Billy just looks at him, does not even fucking crack a smile. And Hawkins like, big as a house. Like he's trying to get him to laugh. And
Yeah,
Billy's just
yeah.
like, this guy. He just looks at him like, you're a fucking idiot. You are actually a fucking twat. So that's the first joke. Like I said, it's a boy movie, right? But like, if you're a girl and you get offended by that, get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. So anyway, there's that banter. And then Dylan tells Dutch there's no backup team. So backup team because they're kind of crossing the border and they're not supposed to. So they're not supposed to have like US kind of hawks in the air. And they said once we land, we're on our own. That's it. And that's a great setup point because now they can't call for help. They're completely isolated from everything and everyone. So if any of them are going to get out of there, they have to do it. Help is not coming. What do you reckon?
Yeah, that piece of dialogue is extremely important because it also tells you that it's a black bag operation. That means it's basically a suicide mission. So basically, like Dean just hinted at, if they fuck up, nobody's coming for them. So that heightens the tension tenfold. But if I just could for 1 minute, say just one little thing. I love the way that John McTiernan handles the direction in the chopper
Mm.
because you find out everything you need to know about all of the people on Dutch's team by just a look or a couple lines of dialogue. Like Dean just mentioned the joke that Hawk told Billy. So right there, you understand everything you need to know about Billy and Hawk.
So now the team is in the jungle, and they come across a wreckage of a helicopter. No, not Hawkins. Poncho goes up, and he has a look, and then Dylan goes up, and the pilot is dead. He's still strapped in. He's dead. Poncho goes to Dutch because Dutch is the major. Dutch is the team leader. He says to him that it looks like the helicopter got hit with a heat-seeking missile. Billy informs Dutch. Billy comes up to him and he informs Dutch that there were 6 US military men who followed the guerrillas. Now, Just for people who don't know the name, I'm gonna say gorillas a lot. It's not the animal gorillas. Gorillas are like an
No.
independent faction that go off and do their own fucking thing, right? So they're an independent faction, who follow the gorillas, who kidnapped the 2 other men that they're looking for. Because Billy's like you said, Billy is the tracker. And then Dutch asks Dylan who they are, and Dylan says probably rebel faction. So Dutch is kind of suspicious at this point with Dylan because he's basically saying, who are these other military men that are here? Nobody else is supposed to be here. And Dylan's, spoiler alert, Dylan's lying. He's like, I don't know who they are. I have no idea who they are. Probably a rebel faction. And Dutch is not stupid. He's just like not taking this shit anymore. And he's like, okay.
Also, also worth mentioning, Dylan is a member of the CIA. And if there's one thing that you guys can take to the bank, uh, in any popular media, the CIA is not to be trusted.
Yeah. So anyway, Dutch is suspicious of him because he looks at Dylan and he goes, "Heat-seeking weapon. That's pretty advanced for like a guerrilla group." He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Maybe they've got this. He's just bullshitting." And Dutch is just like, "Fucking bullshit artist." Anyway, that's that scene. Great setup, I think, because this movie is called Predator, but they are there for a mission. It's got nothing to do with the Predator. It's got to do with they're in there. They have to rescue these 2 people and they have to track them to see where they went. And now Dutch knows there's other military people there. Why are they there? Why is the helicopter shot down? Like this whole situation is suspicious. But this whole situation has nothing to do with the predator. With the predator. There's like 2 different stories lines going on. Anyway, that was that scene. Do you have anything else further to add to that?
Yeah, I do. The one thing that I really liked about the start of this movie, once they land in the jungle and they find the plane, and Dutch starts to suspect that Dylan is not being upfront with him as to the reason of them being there in the first place. This movie, for it's it's like this movie is cut up into 2 giant cakes. The first part is the team is there for to rescue this group of people, but once we find out that once we find out the real reason why the team is there, the movie shifts into what it was supposed to be. So I really appreciated that the writers presented us with this thing that with this thing that the team had to do, but after we found out that the thing that the team had to do isn't what they were really there for in the first place, then we kind of pivoted to the predator stuff. I did appreciate that pivot, that the writer showed us one thing, but then we pivoted to something else in the second half of the movie.
Yeah, the first half is different to the second half, but they go together, so it doesn't completely take you out of it. So now
No, it doesn't.
Billy is tracking the footprints when he turns, and he's got this sixth sense where he does it a few times in the movie. He moves the brush behind him and sees 3 hanging skinned bodies in the trees. And FYI, that was my favorite part when I was 7, the skinned bodies. I think I may need some
You
sort
know,
of medication.
right,
Anyway, so he sees the
right.
skin bodies and he grabs the dog tags and it reveals that these boys were Green Beret. And now Dutch asks Dylan, what the hell were Green Beret doing here? And Dylan's like, oh, I don't know. I've no idea what they were doing here. And like Dutch is like, oh, you could see
You
on his
lying
face.
sack of
Yeah,
shit.
you're such a lying sack of shit. So Dutch sees Billy kind of studying the jungle. And Billy says that there was a firefight and they were firing in all directions. And Dutch says, well, he can't believe that trained Green Berets would just walk into an ambush like that. And Billy says they didn't because he can't find a single track by any guerrilla. And so that right there is setting up the Predator storyline. Just that little thing sets it up. So what do you reckon before we move on to the next scene?
I absolutely love I absolutely love this sequence because first of all, even today when I was watching the scene and you see Billy, you see the tracker guy Billy rummaging through the forest, and as he clears the leaves, you see the skinned bodies of the green beret. Guys, I jumped out of my fucking seat when I saw that today, and I knew that was coming. So I think the makeup by the makeup department in this movie, which is done by Stan Winston, rest in peace. He was a great makeup guy. He was just so great. But also, also like Dean just said, I really like that little tiny lines like that really set up the predator and really tell the audience that there's something else going on here that we don't fully know or understand yet. So I thought that the scene was very, very economical.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And yeah, like I said, it sets up what's to come. So now listen, if you're sitting in the cinema and you have no fucking idea what this movie is and you don't know what the Predator is, the next scene will be a bit kind of weird for you because now we cut to what I like to call Predator vision or his heat vision or thermal vision, but I call it Predator vision. And I can imagine people sitting in the cinema going, "What the fuck? Like, what is this?" Because it's just such a weird technique to use in a movie, unless you're watching a military movie and they're using thermal glass goggles or whatever it is. It's just weird. It's from his POV and he's watching them. If you don't know what the Predator is, it's something is watching the team. And we cut back and forth between Predator vision and the team making their way through the jungle. And what that scene shows is he's following them. So it doesn't nothing needs to be said in that scene. It does everything it needs to do. Something is watching them, something has heat vision, and it's keeping up with them, and they don't know that it's following them. So it's very, very quiet. And I love it. It's subtle, but if you kind of pick up on it, it's really, really like done really well.
That that, ladies and gentlemen, is the perfect kind of storytelling. That is show don't tell. So basically what the predator is doing is he is hunting his prey or stalking his prey. So
Mm.
I don't have much to say. I don't have much else to say about this because I thought that Dean put it very, very well.
So now the team reaches the guerrillas' camp. And Dutch sees them kill one of the hostages and he's like, "All right, well that's one of them, that's down." And then he advises some of his team to basically Assassin's Creed style, which is stealthily take out the guards on the perimeter. Then Dutch sees like an old car that's like levered on bricks, and then he basically puts an explosion in the back and kind of like pushes it forward. And anyway, they bust in and basically take them all out. There's a lot of guys. There's fucking explosions going on everywhere, and we still at this point don't know what's going on. And then Mac, one of the boys, informs them that the other hostage is dead, and he was CIA and the men were Russian operatives. And now Dutch is like, okay, what the fuck is going on? So Dutch confronts Dylan, and Dylan says that their true mission was to stop a planned Soviet backed mission, and the Green Berets were sent in to do it. They went dark, so Dutch and his men were sent in. And Dutch is pissed off. He's like, this is not what, like, this, why are you lying to me? Like, this is not what we do. We are not, like, we're not spies. We don't do this. And Dylan was basically like, if I told you what it was, you wouldn't have done it. And I need you because,
Now
again, you're
didn't
the best.
no, didn't he say that didn't he say that they're not killers, that that they were a rescue team
Yeah,
or
but
something of
no,
that?
I don't think he said that because they went in, they killed everybody.
Right, right. No, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, okay.
So I think that
But
was
the
what
other
he's
yeah,
saying.
the other thing is that he was misled, so how could he have known what he was there for? He was lied to in the first place anyway.
But that's the point. That's why he was pissed because he was
Right,
lied to.
right, that's the point. I'm sorry. I'm going around in circles now. I'm sorry.
And we go around in circles. Yay!
Guys, guys,
Yay,
guys,
circle.
guys, guys, just to make something clear, Dean is a smart one in this combo.
I just wait for him to stop talking, to realize what he's done, and to make a U-turn.
Yeah.
And he does, he does. So they find a woman who I is was she a hostage at the camp, or was she working?
Yes.
She was because I don't think she was working with them.
No. No, 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 no. She was a hostage, I believe.
Right. So they find a woman, and basically they're like, well, they can't leave her there, so they take her with them. Now here comes the second joke.
Yeah.
Are you ready? The second joke that Hawkins tells.
Yes.
He really wants to get Billy to laugh. right? So everything's blown up. Billy's like looking around. They've got the woman. They're about to head out, and Hawkins goes up to Billy, and he says, "The other day, again, if you're gonna be triggered by this, fucking fuck off. I can't deal with you. I cannot deal with people like that. Fuck off." So he goes, "The other day I was going down on my girlfriend and I said to her, 'Geez, you got a big pussy. Geez, you got a big pussy.' And she said, 'Why'd you say that twice?' And I said, 'I didn't.'" And he looks at Billy and he waits. And Billy looks at him and Hawkins walks away. And as soon as Hawkins walks away, Billy just pisses himself laughing. He fucking pisses himself. But but I love this scene because aside from the joke, it served a purpose. Because that purpose, when Billy laughed, now we switch to Predator vision and the Predator is watching him laugh and he's picking up his laugh and then he's replaying it back. So it's like he's recording everything. He can record voices and sounds and stuff. So you're like, "Oh, what the fuck is this? Like, who is this? What is this?" And yeah, so he records everything and then he starts playing it back and then his hand comes into view and it looks human. And you're like, "What is this?"
But it's not.
No, but it's not. But anyway, that was that.
But also I was really happy that Hawkins got got a chance to fulfill
Yeah.
his character's wants in this film, because listen, all his character wants to do is make his fellow team member laugh.
Yeah.
And after telling two stories about pussy, he did it.
Yeah, he
And
did.
it was just great. But also I really like that once Billy laughs and when it switches back to the predator vision, as you so well put it,
Mm,
we find out that that the predator can record stuff and
mm.
and he can sort of keep stuff,
Yeah.
right? I was like, I wonder why, because John McTiernan did something very interesting when the predator was recording Billy's laugh. He focused in, like he did a crash zoom on on Billy's body, right? In
Mm.
predator vision.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I wonder, are they gonna bring this back later? So I was like, this has to be a hat on the ground.
Yeah, it does. It comes back.
Yeah.
So, moving on. So they're making their way through the jungle, and Billy is ahead of them, and he stops. And the rest of the team are kind of, because he's the tracker, so he's ahead of them, and he stops, and he's been standing there for a few minutes. Dutch goes up to him and he asks him. He said, "What's going on?" And Billy says, "There's something in those trees." And Dutch looks and he doesn't see anything. And then the woman hostage kind of makes a run for it. This is another great scene because she's running through the jungle. I can't remember which one of the boys is running after her, but we track the run through
It's
predator
Hawk.
through it's Hawkins, so through predator vision, and I love it because they're running and he's keeping pace very very easily through the because he's
Mhm.
above
Yep.
them, right?
He's not even
He's not
sweating.
even sweating, and you're like, "Oh, so not only can he keep up with them when they're walking, but when they're running, he can keep pace, and they don't even know he's there." So,
Not
they
yet.
can't hear him. They can't there's
No,
nothing,
of course not.
which I thought was, like, so great. So Hawkins you're right, Hawkins catches her, and then we hear the iconic predator noise, and then he turns to see Hawkins turns to see, like, a translucent see-through like humanoid,
Figure.
yeah, who basically kills him and then drags his body away, sparing the girl, and there's blood all over the girl. And then Poncho comes and follows the blood trail to basically a pool of intestines. So what do you think?
I thought that scene was very, very cool for two reasons. Because number one, when the girl runs away from our team, we can tell right away, like Dean just said, the predator can keep up with them not only when they're walking but when they're running.
The guys are asking the girl, "What happened?" And she just looks fucking, like, traumatized. Like, she just and she says, "The jungle came alive and took him." And the boys are just like, "Oh, for fuck's sake." Like, she's just like, "We don't know what she saw." Well, we do, but they don't.
Can I just say can I just, drop in just one note? I kinda have a problem with the way that they translated this woman's Spanish, because 'cause I'm like,
I knew you
"She
would.
didn't say that.
I knew you would.
That's not what she said.
Okay, okay, okay.
You fu"
Okay, so this is really, really interesting. What did she say? Because for all our listeners, Marcelo speaks, understands Spanish. He's Spanish. So, well, Chilean, but you know what I mean,
Yeah, no,
language. What did she say?
yeah. Well, she basically said, the Force came alive and it took him, what the soldier guy said was the Force came alive and it took him, but he added a bunch of words that she didn't say.
I think he was just trying to explain it to the boys.
Right,
I think that's
right,
what
right,
like
right,
like she would have said the jungle came alive and took him, but then he just would have tried to explain that further.
right, 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 right.
Right. So the translation was correct.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
god, I thought this was gonna be a whole thing, like, "Oh my god, she didn't say that," and it's just nothing. It's a whole bunch of fucking nothing. Marcelo, it's fucking nothing. It's fucking
Guys,
nothing.
guys, in this episode, it's becoming clear I'm fucking useless on this show. Dee doesn't need me.
But it makes for good, commentary, though. Isn't it
I'm
funny?
fucking useless. Yes.
No, no, you're
But
not. You're not useless. I mean, you are, but you're not. Do you
mm.
know what I mean? No, 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 you're not. So, Dutch and the
Oh,
team start searching for Hawkins' body. And the camera pans up and up and up and up and up. And it's like it keeps going up this tree that's literally like it's got to be at least fucking 30 feet high. And his body is there hanging. And the tree is so high that no person could drag like a massive, massive 6 foot whatever muscly guy up that high. And so just by that shot, you know it, whatever it is, it's probably not human. So I just love that shot.
yeah, no, just real quickly, that's my favorite shot of the movie.
Oh, cool, 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 cool. Anything
That
else to
no,
say about
yeah.
that before I move on to the next scene?
No, go ahead, move on.
All right. So now Blaine, who's played by Jesse Ventura, is looking around for Hawkins' body because they don't know it's there. We know it's there. They don't know it's there. When he
Oh,
looks,
can I
yeah, 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 yeah.
can can I jump in just for a second?
Yes.
I love the fact that Blaine has a shirt that has the MTV logo
Oh
on it.
yeah.
Off you go.
Yeah, that's awesome. So he's looking for Hawkins' body when what looks like a heat-seeking missile, which we now know is the Predator's plasma missile, hits him in the back and basically goes straight through him like this is massive hole. Max sees this. He sees Blaine go down. He sees the translucent humanoid or predator, as we know him as. Mac goes nuts and starts firing at it,
Yeah.
and then they all
You're
start firing into the junk. They don't know what they're all got
so
massive
stupid.
it's so
What the
stupid. I know,
fuck?
I know. I was thinking, "Oh
It's
my god,
so
why,
dumb.
why?" So they're all
No.
firing these massive semi-automatics in one direction. They don't know what they're firing at. They're just firing because fucking Mac fired, and I'm like, I don't know if they would. I don't know if the military guys would do that. I don't know. Don't quote me. I don't know. And so,
No, no, the other I mean, I no, I'm sorry. If I just could just 1 second.
yeah,
The other thing that I kind of didn't like about this movie is 2 things.
yeah,
I don't like the thing that Dean is talking about right now,
mm,
because when you're in combat, I've never been a member of the American military, but I have people in my family who have served.
mm,
Um, and those family members love this movie, by the way.
mm,
Um, so yeah, when you're in combat with a fellow soldier and that fellow soldier either gets hurt or dies, you do not automatically lose it. You try and keep it together so you can get out of the situation that you're in
yeah,
and grieve later.
yeah,
But the way that Mac reacted, he just sort of went nuts. And
yeah,
I'm like, a soldier wouldn't react like that. And the other thing is that the other thing that really bothered me, that really bugged me, was if you notice all these elite soldiers, none of them have any body armor on. I'm like, why are you guys not wearing? I mean, listen. I know it's 1987 at this point, but I'm like, even in 1987, they had to have like a version of
What's what
Kevlar,
body armor? Like a bulletproof
like
vest?
No, 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 but I no, but listen, listen. I know that a bulletproof vest and Kevlar wouldn't do jack shit against a predator, but I'm just saying, for safety purposes, it would be nice to see them with like Kevlar or
Yeah, but
something
they're a
like that.
rescue team. They're going in, they didn't realize any of this shit would happen. They're good at what they do. So, and they are good because when they went into that camp with the gorillas, not one of them got
No,
hit.
yeah, no, no, no. I know, but Jesse did, if I'm not mistaken.
Did he get? Oh, he might have got hit in the arm. Oh, that's when he
Yeah,
goes,
yeah,
"I ain't
because
got time to
yeah,
bleed."
yeah, yeah. Also, I do want to mention one other thing.
Mm,
Mac's reaction to the death of Jesse the Body Ventura is very, very emotional, and he's the one that feels it the most.
yeah.
And the reason that he's the one that feels it the most is that a couple moments before this happens, they have a really, really short scene that implies that they're like best friends.
Mm,
And
yeah,
so it was so it was really good, it was really good storytelling and efficient storytelling that the writers gave us a little bit about their relationship, and then a scene or two later they kill one of them.
yeah,
So the way that Mac reacts totally tracks, because you saw that little short scene just a couple seconds ago, or a
yeah.
couple scenes ago.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's his best friend that just got killed. So, like, I would go ape shit too.
Right.
Doesn't matter how much military training you have, you're gonna go ape shit.
Right.
So, and they've been working together well, they're best friends. So I do understand why he did that. So anyway, they're shooting a lot, and it's a long scene, and then they stop, and then Dutch asks Mac, "What the hell did you see?" And Mac says something, and he's traumatized too. Anybody that sees his predator is fucking traumatized. And then Poncho is running around. Then he runs back and he steps in and he says, "There's no blood, no bodies. We hit nothing." And Dutch is like
That's
looking at
so
everyone
great.
like, "How did we
That
not
is
hit anything?"
That is so great. I'm sorry.
And
That's so
then
great.
yeah, there's such good dialogue in these movies. There's certain lines where you
So
just go,
good.
"Oh
So
my
good.
god," it's just iconic lines. And
Yeah,
so
it's like I'm sorry. It's like I ain't got time to bleed.
mm.
It's just so great. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So the girl, so they walk away. So well, they keep making their way through the jungle, and the girl, the hostage, sees this green substance on some leaves, and well, we know what that is. That's the predator's blood. But watching this in the cinema for the first time, you don't know what the fuck it is. But anyway, that's that. That is that scene. So do you have any more to say on that?
No, go right ahead.
All right. So now the team are setting up a perimeter system because they want to get some rest. And it's basically it's tripwires to let them know if anything comes near them. And there's a nice moment where Mac, because but Blaine's body is there, where Mac says goodbye to Blaine, and it's a really really nice touching moment. And he puts his little hip flask on his mouth and then covers him back up. So anything to say about that?
I think that's a very, very, very short, very sweet scene. It also really emphasizes again the connection between these two men. So let's listen.
Mm,
Of of all of all the soldiers in this movie, the ones that I got attached to the most are Mac and Jesse the Body Ventura's character, because I really think that the writers went out of their way to sort of show the connection between those two, rather than they seem to me like they they were the two that got the most character development out of any of them, besides Dutch and oh my
mm.
god, what's his name? Carl Weathers'
Dylan.
character. Yes. Other than Dutch and Dylan, Mac and Jesse the Body Ventura's character got the most meat, so to
Mm.
speak, and I just love these these three emotional scenes that they had to imply that these guys really really love each other and they were best friends.
Yes, I agree. So the next scene is finally we kind. Yes.
I'm sorry, one more thing. I love it when Mac starts talking to the moon.
Oh, yeah, when he's kind of gone nutsoville?
Yeah, it starts
Right.
talking to the moon.
Right, right. Yeah, he literally starts talking to himself. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, the moon.
yeah, off you go,
Yeah.
off you go.
So, finally, the next scene, we kind of see what the Predator looks like out of his translucent state because he's injured. And we now know that the green substance is his blood. And so he's got kind of like an alien first aid kit that's on his suit, and he's patching himself up. It's he puts I don't know what he does. He presses down on his thing, and it clearly hurts him. And he just roars. He has this roar that just echoes through the jungle. And then you cut back to the team, and the girl and Billy hear it. And they're just and nobody else hears it. They hear it. And it's just like and then and I think it's at that point Billy goes, okay, he's thinking, this is not a human yell. This is not human. This is not an animal. I don't know what that is, but I loved it. It was the first time you kind of not the predator in full view, but you saw a little bit of him out of his translucent state, which I really liked.
Yeah, I really like the fact that, the predator can get injured. And also I love the fact that he had like a little first aid kick, that he had a little first aid kit.
Mm,
And I love the fact that when he was trying to seal his wound, he yelled out in Terra, and when he yelled it in Terra, only two members of our team could hear the yell. And I love the fact that one of them was Billy, because Billy seems to be a man of faith and a man of belief, where the others are not.
mm.
And I think that will come into play a little bit later on, as he goes as Billy goes further and further into Nutsoville, so to speak.
So now the team is assessing the situation. And Poncho asks the girl again because Dutch is like, ask her what she knows. And so he's asking her again, what does she knows? And she just says the same fucking thing. The jungle came alive and took him. And the boys are just like, oh, for fuck's sake. Like, what does that even like mean? She has no, because she has no other way of describing it. She's only seen the translucent predator. So it does look like the jungle came alive and took him. And Poncho asks, and this is another one of my favorite. This is probably my favorite line of dialogue. He asks Billy, he goes, Billy, I know you know something. What do you know? And Billy says, I'm afraid. And Poncho says, you ain't afraid of no man. And Billy replies with,
There's something out there waiting for us. And it ain't no man.
and I was like, ooh, gives me
So it's
chills every
yeah,
time. Gives me chills.
yeah,
So
yeah,
what say you?
yeah, yeah.
Now is your favorite scene where Mac is going nuts. He's talking to the moon.
Yeah.
And he's talking to the moon, and when the perimeter line goes off, and so the team scramble to see what the fuck crossed it, and the editing's really cool because you can't really see what it is. At first, you're like, is it the predator? Is it not the predator? And then you kind of see it's a wild boar, and it's big too. And then Mac jumps on it and starts stabbing it and stabbing it and stabbing it and stabbing it. And then all the boys come up, and they're kind of standing on a ridge looking down on Mac that's stabbed this boar. And Mac didn't know what it was because it's where they're in pitch black. And when they shine the light on him and the boar, he looks down at it. And I love this line. And Poncho looks at him deadpan and goes, do you think you could have found something bigger? And then the boys start pissing themselves laughing. And Mac's like, oh, fuck you. Typical boy banter. And I love it. And then they notice, which was the point, Blaine's body has been taken. So what has happened in that scene is the predator has actually seen the tripwires. He's basically ushered in a boar to trip them to as a what is it?
As a distraction.
Exactly, as a distraction, so he could take Blaine's body, which I thought was really so that was not enough. There's no nothing scenes in this movie. Every single scene,
No.
there's a point. So what say you?
I mean, just to do a remix of of the scene that Dean just described.
Do a remix?
Every
I love that.
Yeah, just do a remix.
I love that.
Every yeah, every single thing that happens in this movie from a story perspective is paid off in a satisfying way later on. So, guys, we've been saying it, you know, since day one on this show. If you the way to write a proper screenplay is to set things up and pay them off
Mm,
in a satisfying way later on. And this film, from a writing aspect, from a story aspect, is batting pretty much about 90%.
Mm.
Other than that stupid dumb scene in the forest with our boy shooting at nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. So the next morning, they're walking around and they're wondering how the hell Blaine's body was taken. And Dutch is keeps thinking like, how the hell does this guy keep getting past them? Like, there's no way.
It's
These are
not a guy.
exactly. These are trained military men. Like, there's no way anybody could even fucking creep past them, especially with Billy there. And then Dutch looks up and he says, "It's using the trees." And it's like, "Ooh, gives me shivers." It's like, "Yep, it's using the truth," because we know that. And again, that's my favorite thing in movies.
But they
When
don't.
we know yeah, when we know something that they don't, and then they find out, it's like, "Yep, we already knew." So I love it where she just looks up, "He's using the trees." And they still don't know what it is. They still think it's like, "Oh, dude." So Dutch asks the girl again. He grabs her. He's fucking pissed. He grabs her and he says, "What the fuck is this thing?" And Dylan's like, "You're wasting your time. She doesn't speak English." And then she starts to speak English. And she tells him it uses the jungle and changes color. Then she says, "You must have wounded it. Its blood was on the leaves." And then here's the other iconic line where Dutch says, "If it bleeds, we can kill it."
You kill it.
So, what say you?
I I really, really, really like throughout this movie how in denial sort of Dutch and Dylan is. Dylan specifically, because as the movie goes along and as members of our team get, knocked off here by the predator, Dylan keeps denying that, oh no, it has to be two or three guys. This cannot be done by one person. And I also really, really love that Dylan underestimates the intelligence of his captive that he's got, the girl. Because the second that the girl starts speaking English to Dutch, and she sort of sort of like re-explains what she saw when it killed Hawk, I was like, this motherfucker, this girl has been playing all of you for a fool, because she could actually speak English, but she chose not to do that because she fucking hates these guys.
Yeah, we do that as women. We play men for fools. That's what we do.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
But I
yeah. Of
don't look,
course.
I don't think that she was well, obviously she was doing it on purpose, but how would they know that she could speak English? She's in Central American jungle. Like, where would she have
No,
like learnt, like she
no.
purposely didn't speak English because she didn't want them to know. She was playing dumb.
Yeah, but here's another question: where did she learn to speak English?
Well, the thing is we don't know anything about her character. That's the thing. She
Yeah,
doesn't
yeah,
live
no,
in the
but
jungle. She was just there. We don't even know why she was there.
yeah, but no, but that brings up another interesting point that I want to ask you. Do you think that this character, her as a character, she's really thin. So do you think her as a character really worked? Do you think that she served her purpose? Because I thought that she could have been given a lot more to do,
No,
and the fact that she,
no. I think that she had a purpose. I think that they needed to bring some estrogen in it because there it's all boys. They needed to
yeah,
bring a girl into it that
there,
the
there were
boys.
too many.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah, you're gonna like this. There were too many dicks flying around.
Well, there was there was too much testosterone, but also what it did is it showed a vulnerable side of the boys because at this point they're telling pussy jokes, they've got guns, they're shooting things, they've got big muscles. But as soon as she comes into it, about a couple of scenes into that, it shows
They
them
calm
being
down.
vulnerable because they protect her. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it shows another side to them. So they're not just all butch and just like military men. It's like there's a delicate woman that's come into it now, and they don't touch her. They don't do anything to her. They don't try and, do other shit to her. They're taking them with her, and by the end of it, they're actually trying to protect her. Dutch actually tries to protect her. At the end, he's like,
yeah,
"Go, you
he
make it.
does.
You make, So it shows a
He does.
vulnerability. So that's why she
He
was
does.
there. Even though we don't know anything about her, she was there to enhance the characterization of the boys in the film, I think.
She was there to make them more sympathetic, like you said.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, look, yeah, I mean, just one more thing, and then you can go on with it. But I was like, but still, I would have appreciated just a little bit more, just a tiny bit more. That's all.
Yeah, no, I didn't really. I didn't really care that much.
Okay.
But anyway, the next
Okay.
scene is it's basically a montage scene of them making traps to catch it
Very
on the
cool.
ground in the trees because Dutch realizes he can see the tripwires. So now we have to do old school Boy Scout shit. And even Dylan says, "You think this Boy Scout shit's going to work?" And it kind of does work, but oh my god, this scene, first of all, they've all got to get their kit off because they're all big, muscly guys. And you know what? They want to show it off. And they're like, there's one scene in this montage where they're like, they've tied a rope around a tree and they're like pulling this like five, six guys, big, huge, muscly guys, like pulling this tree, like bending it. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like it's basically a montage of muscly men doing muscly things. But they must do it because that's the movie.
Yeah, I only have one thing to say about this. It was a Rocky montage in the forest. But on
No,
you
yeah, yeah,
go.
yeah. So moving on, they're setting the traps and they're hiding because at this point they still don't know what it is and they don't know that it can see them with its heat vision, which totally hiding doesn't matter what they're hiding behind. It's not going to work. So
No,
they're
it's not gonna matter.
no, but they don't know this, but we do. So we know no matter what they do, they're fucked. Dutch is sitting next to the girl and they're hiding. And the girl tells a story of when it's hot and they would find men without their skin and they would call it the demon who makes trophies of man. So she has kind of heard stories of the predator before in her village and around the jungle, but she's never actually seen it. She just says when it grows hot in the summer, it comes out and basically it hunts. It hunts men. And Dutch is sitting there and he's looking at her like, what? I hope that what she's saying is bullshit. Because it's not, but I think he's hoping that it is. So nothing's happening. And Dutch is like, fuck. So he gets up and he walks out into the open where all the traps are. And he's stepping over all the tripwires. And I love this bit. It's all silent. And he's like, okay, well, I guess there's nothing there. And he turns, and as soon as he turns, there is a huge net that comes up behind him. So the predator was actually behind him, but he didn't know, obviously, because they can't see it, but was trapped, kicked a tripwire, and got trapped in a huge net and is lifted up into the air. But we don't see it because he's translucent, but we know he's in there. Now the predator starts freaking the fuck out, starts shooting its mini missiles anywhere and everywhere to kind of try and escape this net that it's in. So it does, and then you see it jumping from one tree to the next tree, and then it stops. And I love this shot that the director uses. It stops and then it swings around and then his camouflage thing is kind of malfunctioning and then you see him in his entirety and he's got like these dreadlocks that are hanging down. And you're like, oh, that's cool. And Dylan sees it and is like, what the fuck? And then Mac, because Mac's gone crazy, runs after it. And because he's fucking just lost it. He's lost it. And Dylan runs after him, trying to get him back. And then Poncho gets hit in the ribs by a tree log that was supposed to be for the predator, but the because the boys are running around everywhere, they're tripping all the things. The log hits Poncho straight in the ribs and like he goes flying back and now he's just like fucking severely injured. And that's that scene.
Yeah, I really, really love the scene, but I got a problem with it.
Oh yeah, what is it?
I got a huge problem. How could the predator be that stupid?
The
Like
predator sees in heat vision. So
heat
the
vision.
trip
Okay.
wires that they had when the boar got in it was that it was
Okay.
electrical. So he could see it. But nets and ropes
He
he
can't see.
can't
He
see.
can't see.
That's what the problem was.
Okay.
And that's why Dutch says he could see the tripwires, but he won't be able to see it.
Oh,
He
okay.
didn't know he didn't know. He doesn't know he can see in heat vision, but he knows that he could see the electrical shit. So maybe if they went old school, he wouldn't be able to see it. That's my thinking.
Oh, oh, okay. Okay. I will. I will definitely accept that. The other thing, the other thing that I really like about the scene is that this is a scene where Dylan really, really, really gets proven wrong
Mm,
that it wasn't a group of men chasing them and killing them off, that in fact it's this big alien thing. And I really like the fact that Dylan, in an effort to redeem him to redeem himself as a character, goes after Mac, who has now lost his fucking mind
Yeah.
and is after the Predator. But also, just one more note on Dylan. I don't like him as a character in this movie at all because I find him to
Mm.
be an irredeemable son of a bitch liar.
Yeah.
Although I do love Carl Weathers, I don't like the character he plays at all because I don't find him redeemable in any sense of the word. And
No.
this final act that he does, going after Mac, who again has lost his marbles, is not enough of a redemption arc for me to come around on him as a character.
Yeah, that's true. So Dylan runs after Mac. He catches up to him. And they still don't realize, they still don't know it's can see in heat vision because Mac sees Dylan, pulls him in, and Mac is hiding kind of under a tree trunk. And then he points to the trees and he's like up there. And you can see Predator is like translucent. Again, they don't know he can see in heat vision. So Dylan goes off fucking half cocked. Oh, sorry, Mac does. Mac goes off half cocked, and he's trying to shoot him. He's trying to shoot the Predator, and so he's crawling under an open tree trunk. Again, doesn't realize the Predator
Not
can
gonna
see
work.
him in heat vision, and he's trying to surprise it. Because, oh, I'll come up behind him. I'll surprise him. And then you see the
Uh-uh.
Predator's little missile targeting laser system on his
Bing.
arm, and it's like, oh shit!
Dead.
And then he kind of
Boom.
looks up, and it points him in the head, and he just fucking blows his fucking. That's the end
Best
of
kill
Mac.
in the movie.
That's the end of Mac.
No, I lie. The best kill's coming up. But I love that scene. Off you go.
It's a little scene, and I feel like it was so flippant, but it's such a big story in the rest of the movies. I don't know if they thought that they were going to make movies, but Dutch realizes, he says the reason he didn't kill you, which he's talking to the girl, is because you were unarmed. So, but that's a huge plot point in all of the movies, because the
Yeah,
Predator
yeah.
is a hunter. He doesn't just kill random people. He kills when he thinks he's being threatened. And that's a
Oh
huge,
no, but
huge
also
story thing.
but you're right. That's a huge story point that the predator does not attack people that are unarmed. But that's why Dutch loses his fucking mind
Mm.
when the girl picks up a weapon a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
a couple scenes later
Yeah,
and shoots at the fucking thing, and he says no
yeah,
because he realizes when the girl shoots at the predator, that gives the predator carte blanche to come after her now.
yeah, exactly. So Dylan is looking for Mac. He's
I
like,
just
yeah.
Just real quickly, one thing. Why do you think the writers put such an important piece of information that flippantly into like do you think they just didn't think about it?
I don't think they knew it was going to spawn 50 fucking sequels. And that was going to be a big part of the story. I just, I don't think that they did. They were just like, oh, yeah, let's just
Uh,
put this in.
oh, okay.
So Dylan is searching for Mac. He doesn't know his head's been fucking blown off. And then he sees him and he's like, oh shit. And then he sees the Predator and he's like, oh shit. And then he raises his gun and the Predator's like, yeah, you're not going to do that. And has his little missile thing and basically takes his arm fucking clean off. And it's not in my Blu-ray version, but there is a version of the movie that I watched when I was a kid. I think they re-edited it, but in that scene where his arm gets taken off, and there's a wide shot of Carl Weathers, and he's turning around after his arm's been shot, and you can see that his arm is behind his back. I don't think they, I don't think they caught that, but and I always went, oh, that's really taking me out of it because his arm is clearly behind his back to give the illusion that his arm's been taken off. But I think they re-edited it because they realized it was bad editing to begin with. But anyway, that's that scene, and he gets dead. Predator kills him, dead.
Actually, when I watched this movie on HBO because I refused to call it Max, I I really really loved that scene because again I didn't like the character of Dylan. I thought that he was an irredeemable son of a bitch. So for the predator to chop off his arm, then kill him, I thought was awesome. And I, in my version of the film,
Mm.
it was probably the edited version where you didn't see Carl Weathers with his hand behind his back because
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Also, it was probably the re-edited version where they fixed that.
Yep. Yep. So now Billy. Billy, weirdly enough, Billy is actually my favorite character. And he doesn't even
But
say much, but he's my favorite.
but we're gonna get to one of the most dumb parts of the movie.
So
I
Billy is this the part where he decides to
I
wait?
hated this.
So they're running through
Yeah,
okay. So
why?
okay, I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna explain
Why?
why.
God damn it!
No, I'm
All
gonna
right,
tell you.
all right, tell me.
So Dutch and Billy are trying to carry Poncho, all his ribs are like shattered. The girl is with them. They're trying to run, and then Billy stops. Dutch he doesn't explain what he's doing, but Dutch kind of knows, and so the girl takes up his position of helping carry Poncho, and they run through. So Billy decides to wait, and he takes his shirt off, takes all his shit off, and then he slices he's got this like knife, and he slices his chest. He stands there and he waits. And then the others, and I love this, the others hear him scream. They just hear this massive,
He-
massive scream, and Dutch is like, fuck. And so, go, 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 go. Like, if you're watching this for the first time, you're like, fucking go, because like the predator is fast. So, anyway, the predator catches up to them and shoots poor Poncho. Poncho's already fucked. Poncho goes down, dead. And then he tries to hit Dutch. He wounds him in the arm, and the girl, he tells the girl to run. Just fucking get to the chopper. I guess that's what he says.
Get to the chopper.
I guess the chopper, and then Dutch runs through the forest, followed closely by the predator, because the predator doesn't break a sweat when he runs. And then he kind of trips and he slides down this mudslide off a cliff into a waterfall lake thingy. And I'm going to stop there before I go to the next part, because the next part's kind of like the last-ish bit. But anyway, what did you reckon?
I had a really big problem with that. Now, hearing you describe it, I got to the thinking that Billy was giving himself up, and Billy was Billy was sacrificing himself to give Dutch and the others more time to get away. But I still don't like it, because I thought Billy should have gone out with on his feet. I'm not saying that he didn't, because we didn't get to see it, but I would have loved if we would have gotten to see it. Just because I was like, come on, man, you're just gonna go out like that?
There are two reasons why he did that. One is what you mentioned, to get Dutch and Poncho, give them more time. But the other reason is because he wanted to go out on his own terms. He doesn't run. He's proud.
Okay.
He's like, nope, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to fight. And if I die fighting, that's how a warrior dies. He's a warrior. So that's why he
Mm-hmm.
did that. I think that's the bigger part of the reason. Is like, I'm not running. If I die, I die fighting, which is
Okay.
his
Okay.
character, which is why I like him so much.
Okay. I'll take that. I'll take that. I just real
Mhm.
quickly, I love the scene where Dutch gets wounded, and he just yells to the girl, famous line, "Get to the chopper,"
Mm,
and he goes down the mudslide and he gets mud
mm,
all over his body. That's a big hat
mm.
that's gonna get picked up very, very shortly.
Yep. Yep.
And yeah, I just I just had problems with the start of the scene, because I kind of didn't agree with the way Billy went out. But now, hearing Dean explain it and give more context to it, I understand it. I'm not saying that I necessarily agree with it, but I understand it.
Yeah, he's facing his fear. He's not running,
Right,
which I
right,
respect the
right, right,
shit out of.
right.
So, Dutch has fallen off a cliff into the lake, and as Dutch swims to the shore, it's all muddy, and he's climbing up the shore. It's like fucking this. It's like this clay mud thing, and it's kind of it's just all over him. And he crawls out of the water, and he's getting covered in this mud. And then we hear, sorry, Dutch hears a huge splash behind him, but we see it. And it's like, oh shit, the predator's literally just jumped off that cliff, gives no fucks into the water. And Dutch knows. Dutch
Yeah.
is like, oh fuck. Oh fuck, oh fuck. He knows what that is. And so he turns around in the mud. And so now he's like completely covered. And he's like backing up and backing up and backing up. And he backs up into it's kind of like tree roots. He backs up and he's like hiding in the tree. Well, he's not really hiding because there's nothing to hide behind. It's just I don't know. The set was really cool, like how they did the. It looked like spider legs, but it was like tree trunks, like intertwined into each other. It was really cool. So anyway, he's covered in mud and he sees the predator emerge from the water, and he's like not translucent anymore. You can fully see him, and it's like, "Oh, he's really cool." So the predator is looking for him, and we go through the predator vision, and it doesn't pick him up. He scans where Dutch is, doesn't pick him up, and Dutch is looking at him like, "What the fuck? Why can't he see me?" And, there's like a little creature that's crawling, and we see through predator vision, predator goes, "Oh, a heat signature." So he, like, missiles it, and Dutch sees this and he's like, "What?" And then Predator's looking around and goes, "Nah, I don't know where he is." And then he just walks off. And then Dutch realizes he looks at that he's covered in this mud and he goes, "Fuck." This is when it dawns on him, he can't see me because he saw the bug because the bug gives off a heat signature. Obviously, we know that, but now Dutch knows that. He goes, "He can't see me." And then he's like, "Oh, I can use this." And here ensues like the best part of the movie when he gets like one up on the predator. So, what do you reckon?
Yeah, you know what? I really loved this sequence because this sequence picked up something that the last sequence introduced which is the mud. I love the scene when Dutch goes against the sort of tree bark, and like Arnold Schwarzenegger does a great job. Just to be clear, Arnold Schwarzenegger does a great job throughout this whole movie, but in this scene in particular, and the scenes coming up, Arnold Schwarzenegger shows a level of emotion that I don't think that he reached in the movie previously. But just watching the predator come up out of the ocean, come up out of the water, and we get to see almost a full view of how he looks, and and then then to see him not being able to see where Dutch is because because the mud is sort of concealing Dutch's heat signature.
Mm,
I thought was very, very cool, and it was. I really like that the writers gave put in such a simple thing to be an Achilles heel for the predator species
mm,
as a whole.
yep.
I think that that was very, very inventive, and also I think that what the writers do uh, uh, in the finale, which we're going to talk about here in just a few seconds, is great.
Yeah, just a little fun fact about that mud that Arnie is covered in. So when they were shooting, it was freezing. And the mud that they covered him in, this clay stuff, was freezing, and he almost suffered hypothermia because they were trying to get his core body, like, in between takes, his core body temperature up, but they couldn't get it up properly, and he was just shivering, and it took everything in him not to shiver when they were actually filming.
Okay, wow. I mean, there you have it, guys. Bleed for your art, right?
Yeah, exactly. So now we kind of have like another montage of Dutch making makeshift weapons, and he's setting traps, like kind of like they did before in the jungle. And then he covers himself in more mud, and this is such a great shot of him covered in mud, and he has like he's got like a torch, a fire torch,
Yeah,
and
torch.
he lights it on fire, and
Mm,
he holds it up, and then he just screams at the top of his lungs, and he's luring in the predator, and it's just like, "Oh, things about to go down. It's about to
Best
happen."
shot, best shot of the movie, and no lie, I swear to God, when I saw that shot, I was like, "This is a shot that I'm going to use for my commercial." Such a good shot.
I actually have an action figure of Arnold Schwarzenegger, like, of that scene where he's covered in the
Really?
mud. Yeah, and he's holding the torch. It's really cool. I
Oh,
I have it.
oh, wow.
I have him
Oh,
because
okay.
this is how geeky I am, right? So I have an action figure of him in his, like, commando outfit, and I have an action figure of him covered in the mud holding the torch up, which I love.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's fucking cool.
Oh, okay.
So he's trying to lure the predator in, and Dutch has made a fire to distract him because it's the only heat source around. So he wants to lure him into this fire pit that he's made. And so the predator basically he's watching the fire. He's like, "When's the predator coming?" And then the predator comes up literally right behind him. And I love the shot because it's a shot from the front, and you see Arnie, and you don't see the fire, you see him looking at the fire, and then you see the predator come up from behind, and he knows, and he doesn't move, and his eyes just go wide like, "Fuck, fuck." And as an audience member, you're like, "Fuck, fuck, fuck." And the predator just moves past him, doesn't see him. And Arnie's like, "Fuck." It's such a well, placed shot that the director uses that it's just like honestly, watching this for the first time in the movie theater, people must have been like absolutely having anxiety attacks at that. Like, fuck, is he gonna see him? And then so he Predator does exactly what Dutch wants. He jumps towards he's towards the fire pit, and the Predator's like looking at the fire pit, like, what is this? Like, it's not a person, like he doesn't kind of know what it is. And Dutch has, because in his pockets and in his like vest, he's got these little like mini, I don't know what they're like, mini fire bombs, I guess. They've got gunpowder in them. And so he's attached it to an arrow. He's made bow and arrows. And he's fired. He fires
No,
it.
those are what he has in his pocket. Those are shells from his mini rocket launcher.
Right, there you go. There you go. That's what it is. So he attaches one to an arrow and he shoots it where the predator is, and it doesn't get him, but it gets like the front of him. Like he's wounded him, and the predator's like, oh my God, what the fuck? And then the predator goes apeshit and starts fucking firing his missile in every direction because he doesn't know where the fuck Dutch is. And Dutch is trying to keep really fucking still, but all these like, what are they called? They're like the fire, the remnants of like the fires, like
Embers.
yeah, embers. They're falling on him, and that must hurt. So even if he's covered with
Yeah,
mud. But anyway,
yeah,
so he
yeah,
starts
yeah.
firing in all these directions. He doesn't know where he is, and then Arnie's quite clever. He starts throwing a rock, right? Because Predator's gone incognito again. He goes, well, fuck, I can't see him. So he throws a rock because he knows whatever noise he makes, the Predator is gonna out himself
Here.
basically, and missile wherever the sound is coming from. So to find where the predator is, he throws a rock. He sees the predator missile come out, and then he throws an explosive javelin at him, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And the predator's like, "What the fuck is going on? Like, what is happening?" And then Dutch notices, because he's trying to find the predator, because he's like, "All right, where the fuck is he? I know I got him." And he's noticing the green blood, and he's following the trail. Basically, he gets to the end of the trail and then he realizes, oh no. And then the predator comes up behind him. And even though the predator can't really see him, if he uses his missile, it'll get him anyway. So he starts gunning it and then he falls into the water, effectively washing off all the mud. And then at this point, you're like, well, fuck. Fuck. So what say you?
Yeah, listen. I really really love that scene because again, that scene shows you how for the whole duration of this movie, the predator has had the upper hand. But in this one scene, Dutch has the upper hand. I love how Dutch makes the fire to to confuse the predator as to where he is. I love how he shoots those arrows that he made at him, those makeshift arrows that he made at him. And I love how at one point the predator just loses all sense of control and he starts firing madly everywhere. I just love this scene because it's so nice to see the humans have the upper hand when the aliens have had the upper hand for the whole duration of the movie up to this point.
Exactly.
Oh, and one more thing. I really, really think that the direction in this movie is really, really exceptional by John McTiernan.
Mm.
And everybody, when they talk about this movie, everybody says Arnold Schwarzenegger, all the team members are great. But I don't hear a lot of people talking about John McTiernan's direction. I think
Mm.
that John McTiernan's direction brings a lot to this movie, especially early on when the team is in the jungle and they don't know what the hell is hunting them. Because he has a specific way of shooting that really uh, put you behind the eight ball and really doesn't show you what the hell you're looking at. So just real quick, John McTiernan has a specific way of showing you exactly what he wants to show you without giving away everything yet until he absolutely has to.
So now the predator sees Dutch because all the shit's washed off, and Dutch is like, fuck. Fuck. So the predator sees him and picks him up, just picks him up by his one handed, picks him up, thrusts him up against the tree, and then puts him down again and walks away. Just walks a couple feet away. And Dutch doesn't move because he knows he can't fucking run. There's nowhere he can go. And the predator knows this. So the predator turns around and basically just fucking beats the shit out of Dutch, picks him up, throws him, just it beats the shit out of him. And then Dutch leads him to where his kind of traps are in the area that is because he's trying to crawl towards his traps to trap him. He kicks a lever and a huge hang on, let me go back because I forgot something. I forgot a pivotal part because oh, for
Yeah,
fuck's
you
sake, I
did.
forgot a pivotal
Yeah,
part.
you did.
I'm gonna go
Yes,
back.
you
You
did.
didn't even catch me. You
Yeah,
didn't even
yeah.
say anything. You did not even say I blame you
No, no, no,
entirely
no,
for
no.
this. I blame
Oh,
you
come
entirely. This is
on.
absolutely
No,
your fault.
I
What
didn't
the fuck
fucking
are you
do
here for?
anything.
You have to tell me if I've missed something, and because I'm reading my
I
notes, I'm
didn't
like, no,
I
I've
didn't
missed something.
fucking do anything.
I have missed
I was
something.
just
No, I
sitting
blame you. I
here.
blame you entirely. So
Oh,
let's just
come
fucking I'm
on.
so sorry. Let's just fucking no, I'm not sorry because you know what? I am sorry. I'm sorry that I didn't write it down. All right. So before this, we get the iconic scene of Predator slowly taking off his fucking helmet. So he detaches the air oxygen things on the side, and he lifts his fucking helmet off. And this is the first time. Imagine being in the cinema seeing the Predator face for the first time. Fucking hell. This is one of the best creature designs I have ever fucking seen. It is gross, yet it's gross. It's alien. It's slimy. It's just so well designed by Stan Winston. So well designed. And fun fact, it took, I think it was 9 guys to work the face because it was that much. There was so many things going on to move the mandibles and to move not the eyes, because the eyes were the actor's eyes. But just to move everything. Oh my God. And then when he roars and he's like, his mouth opens up, like, oh my God. It's like, fun fact, I actually have a predator head, and it is a full head, and it has the mask. And when you take the mask off, you get the face. So I have that, which is
Oh,
pretty
wow.
fucking cool. Pretty fucking cool.
That's cool. That's some really great nerd cred for you.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, look. I am kind of partial to Stan Winston's Alien,
Mm.
but but the Predator is he looks gross, he looks cool, and hearing that it took almost 9 people just to work the face, that's not surprising to me at all.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, the mask is revealed. He starts beating the crap out of Dutch. Dutch leads him to where his traps are. He kicks a lever and a huge log comes down, crashing down on the Predator. And then he grabs a big rock and he goes to bash his head in, and then he stops because he sees the Predator is already dying. He's spitting up this green blood. And he kind of at that point has he could have done it, but he doesn't. He has a moment of like, "Oh, well, he's gonna die anyway. Should I really be this person to like bash this?" He's killed all your friends. Come the fuck on. But I do understand it was a moment, and I liked it. So now the Predator opens up his little arm thingy, and he presses buttons, and it's basically initiates a self destruct like sequence. And then this is okay. We're gonna go back to go forward. The joke that Hawkins tells Billy, and Billy starts laughing. The Predator recorded Billy's laugh, and now Billy's laugh comes back, but it's really grotesque. So Dutch goes, when Dutch realizes, oh, it's a self destruct, the Predator starts playing the recording of Billy laughing. And it's just so fucking it's like the creepiest shit. It's the whole movie is great. This is so fucking creepy. And then Dutch fucking guns it and runs, and then there's this huge like explosion. Dutch gets out of the way, and after it clears, there's the helicopter. The helicopter is coming in, the rescue helicopter. And they see the smoke, so that's obviously where they're headed. They land, and they pick Dutch up, and the girl is already in the helicopter on board, and Dutch is just sitting in the helicopter like fuck. And that's it. That's the end. That's the end.
Yeah, I really, really love the end of this movie because, like you said, that little scene between Billy and Hawk, where Billy uses a laugh that comes back when the Predator just basically initiates his self-destruct mechanism. And I also love the fact that the self-destruct mechanism is basically he basically like released the a nuclear bomb in the forest.
Yeah.
So how in the world Dutch survived that? I don't care. I don't know. It's movie magic. I accept that. But I also really like the end of the movie that Dutch just gets onto the helicopter and he doesn't say a word.
Mm.
Everything that you need to know is on the guy's face. So I really really like the ending of this movie. It was just great. But would you like to go on to your trivia?
Sure. So, first trivia is the predator's blood was made from the liquid inside glow sticks and KY jelly. That's his blood. So it actually did glow. It was actually that
Okay.
green glowy thing. That wasn't
Okay.
CG at all, which I thought was cool.
Of course, a lot of things in this movie are practical because in the '80s, folks, when you wanted to do stuff as a filmmaker, you had to be creative. You couldn't just send it off to Lucasfilm and they do everything for you.
Do you know what? I'm going to interject something before I go through my trivia. I was watching this movie and I was thinking, you know what? These are action heroes. These are male action heroes. You know, the 80s, right? And then you've got Rocky. He's an action, you know what I mean? It was and I'm going to annoy a lot of people by saying this, but you know me, I don't give a fuck. The 80s they had Dolph Lundgren, they had Sylvester Stallone, obviously they had Arnie, and they had all these men that were men. And I was thinking about this watching Predator, and I was like, these were action heroes, and now we've got men in tights. These are the action heroes of today. Men swinging around in fucking tight spandex. And I'm just like, no, no, no. Are
Okay,
you kidding
okay,
me?
okay.
Fucking
I
no.
okay,
Wearing masks,
okay.
no less. The heroes in the
Hold
80s
it.
did not wear masks.
Hold it. Hold it. You think I'm gonna interject, but I'm not. You are completely right. And guys, this is coming from a guy that loves
Loves.
the spandex people.
Loves.
But Dean is completely right. In the 80s and the in the 80s and all throughout the 90s, we had rough, tough, really hard kicking action superheroes. Like Dean said, we had Arnie, we had Sylvester, we had Sean Claude Van
Oh, we
Damme,
had Kurt
we even had
Russell?
yeah, yeah, we even had it. We even had Steven Seagal
Oh,
before he
yeah.
went all nutso.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was just a different time.
So, talking about big buff men, Arnie actually lost 25 pounds to play Dutch.
Huh?
Okay, I knew
Okay.
you would say "huh," so I'm gonna explain. It's not that he was fat, he wasn't, but he was a bodybuilder, and he didn't think that his physique as a bodybuilder would match a military man, so he actually lost 25 pounds of muscle.
Okay, 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 okay. That makes sense now. That makes
And I was
sense.
like, "Damn,
I mean, yeah, because I was like, wait a minute. Arnold Schwarzenegger has been fit for my entire life.
it's
I'm like,
muscle he
what are you talking
lost."
about?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, the Predator costume, this was interesting, weighed over 200 pounds. And
What?
yeah, and Kevin Peter Hall, which is the guy who played Predator, he's 7'2", and by the way, Kevin Peter Hall is actually at the end of the movie, he's the pilot of the helicopter, in case you wanted to see kind of what he looks like. He's actually in the movie, not in the
Oh,
suit.
cool.
So anyway, he's 7'2". The costume weighed over 200 pounds, but this was interesting. So he had to be connected to a bungee rig to enable him to actually move more fluidly because
Oh
he
my
couldn't
god.
move in it.
What? Oh shit.
Yeah. How funny is that?
That's incredible. That's incredible.
Isn't it? The original script, sometimes when actors get scripts, if they're big enough, they can change what they want. Because if you want an actor and they say, "Well, I'm not going to do it unless you do this," usually the studio will comply, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. In this instant, it worked because the original script that Arnie was given actually only had Dutch in the jungle for the entire movie. So he was facing off against the Predator for the full hour and a half. And it was Arnie that actually said, "No, I think we need a team of commandos." And that's when the script was
Oh,
rewritten for that.
wow. Good on Arnold Schwarzenegger for having that foresight. Oh, wait a minute. So the original script was just that
It
would
was
have been
just
kind of
him.
taxing though.
Yeah, it would have been. It would have been.
No, but yeah, but like you agree though, it would have been taxing, right, to have
Yeah.
Arnold all by himself. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The next piece of trivia is, look, I know everybody knows this, but I talked to my friend about this yesterday. He's like, "Are you going to bring it up?" And I'm like, "Yeah, okay, I'll bring it up." But I think people know this.
What are you gonna bring up?
I think people already know. Fans of this movie will know that Jean-Claude Van Damme was the original Predator. People know this, right?
Yeah, even
Before he was
yeah,
gone, he was the original in a different suit. Before they totally reworked the
yeah,
character.
yeah. Even I know that.
Yeah, like people know that. So the last piece of trivia is how the clicking, the Predator clicks came about. So the guy that actually voices Predator actually voices Optimus Prime as well. He does a lot of voice work.
No way! Are you
It's Optimus
kidding
Prime.
me? Get
Yeah.
the fuck out of
And
here!
he
Oh, wait a
yeah,
minute.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, let that
Wait a
sink
minute.
in. Let that
Wait,
sink in.
hold up. Mind blown. Are you kidding me? Optimus Prime is a predator. He's a whoop. Oh my god.
Yeah. So he also does
Oh
King
my
Kong
god.
as and Godzilla as well. So
Okay.
so anyway, he had just finished doing King Kong. And they called him up. They're like, "Hey, we got this obviously 1987, 1986 before it was out. We got this movie. We want you to do the growling or the voice for it." And he had totally messed up his throat doing King Kong, right? He's like his throat was like bleeding and he could hardly talk. And he's like, "Look, my throat's
Oh.
messed up, but I'll go in. I'll see what you want me to do." And he went into, I think, 20th Century Fox it is. They go, "Okay," and they're describing him. They go, "Okay, this is the character. We need a call. We need a roar. We need something." And he says, "Well, what does it look like?" And the execs were like, "Oh, well, we can't show you." And he goes, "Well, I need to know what he looks
What?
like." Yeah, fucking studios.
That's
And the execs were like, "Well, we can't show you." He goes, "I need to know what he looks like and how he moves. Otherwise, I can't give you a voice, not by off of a description." And so he said that execs fucking fucked off. And they came back with footage and they showed him a couple of
Ooh.
scenes because they'd already shot it with the Predator. And he stood there and he watched it with the helmet coming off and all that. And they said, "Okay, what do you think?" And he's like, "Hmm."
Mm.
And he stood there and he started doing the clicks, which he said was the only thing he could do because his voice was fucked. He started doing this clicking sound because he said
Oh.
it reminded him of like a crab and like bubbles coming up to the surface, crackling at the surface. So he started doing the clicking sound, and the executive went, "Fuck." And then he got the other executive. He goes, "Fucking come here and listen to this, listen to this." And so he pulled the other guy in through and goes, "Listen to this." He goes,
Oh my
do it
god.
again." And so Optimus Prime, he did it again, did the clicking sound, and he goes, "Fuck, that's it. That's it. That's the sound." And that's, folks, that is how we got
That
the
is
Predator
so.
clicking sound.
Oh, that is so great. Oh, you know what? You know what? You know what? I think that this is the this is the moment of this podcast right here.
This trivia.
I was like, that's so great.
All right, if there's nothing else, we're going to say goodbye.
There's nothing else. Let's say goodbye.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed our very long but very enjoyable review on the Mixtape podcast of The Predator. If you want to email us, you can at mixtapepod@aol.com, even to tell me I am the best and Marcelo sucks. I would love to get that email. Wouldn't you love that email? Dean is the best, Marcelo sucks. I
Well, guys, just real quickly. I think Dean is the best too. She fucking rules.
Oh, I might send that email to the Mixtape Podcast. "Dear Mixtape Podcast, I think Dean is the best, and I think Marcelo sucks." And then, but it'll be like my email, so you'll know it was from me. "Dean,
Yeah, I'm really.
are you sending emails telling yourself you love yourself again?" "Yes, I am."
Hey, you know what? You know what? I like you. If you do that, I'll read it on the air.
I would do that, folks. I would fucking do that because I'm fucking trippy like that. Anyway, so we hope you enjoyed this episode. Next week, now listen, I have to interject because 2 episodes ago, I did say that each week we alternate in our picks, but this season is a little bit different because Marcelo kept losing bets. And so I kept
Yeah.
taking his picks. So the next like 6 episodes are my picks because I kept changing them and putting my picks in because he kept losing bets. That I knew he would lose, but I wasn't going to tell him that. So anyway, So obviously Saturday Night Fever,
Oh,
Predator was my pick, and the next 4, I think, are my picks. So next week, we're pivoting a little bit next week because this week, obviously, we did something very, very dark. Next week, we're going to keep it lighthearted. We're going to do one of my other favorite movies of all time. We're going to be doing Spaceballs. And that might surprise people, but we like to keep it light here. We like to balance the light and the dark. And so we're doing Spaceballs. Anyway, so here we go. My podcast voice to sign it off. If someone is kind enough to make you a mixtape, that must mean that they really love you. The Mixtape Podcast is a Balloonhead Productions presentation.